is most vulnerable to injury. So we should be careful here. When we do the threading, I always prevent tooth transfer over here, this area. And also this area, not only the zygomatic branch, but also here we should be careful about the zygomatic facial nerve, the sensory nerve, the nerve over here. But I think sometimes doctor thinks we go the threading from the T point and transfer to the lower face. Sometimes it's dangerous. You see, here is another case. Threading. You see, I do this surgery about 2 days ago. Many threads, and the nerve here, many threads around here. I think the doctor maybe he think the thread is just superficial to the smooth layer, but in fact, all of the thread under the smooth. Okay, and the zygomatic branch, the tips. Here is another point. In fact, the zygomatic branch of the facial nerve, we can separate it into two parts. Some zygomatic branch go above the lip levator muscle. The lip levator muscle means the major, the minor, LOLS muscle. Lip LOLS muscle above the muscle. The nerve above the muscle, in fact, is not very important because if the nerve injury, it will not affect your expression. It will not affect your smile. But the only one above the lip levator muscle, the nerve you should be careful is 2.5 centimeter over here. But here, the nerve above the lip levator muscle, you don't worry about it, because if the facial nerve way over here, but above the lip levator muscle, if it injury, it will not make your smile maybe asymmetry. No, because all of the lip levator muscle, the main trunk to supply all of this muscle is under the lip levator muscle. Under the lip levator muscle. So when we do the threading, we don't do the threading under the lip levator muscle. It's very dangerous. However, if we do the threading above the muscle, it's very safe. It's very safe. Here we should be keep in mind, our knee face have many layers. The subcutaneous layer, which means above the smooth, which means above the orbicularis muscle. The subsmooth, which means between the orbicularis muscle and the lip levator muscle, and the deep one is under the lip levator muscle. We'll see later. So here you see the nerve above the lip levator muscle like this. Don't worry. So if we do the threading inside here, we don't worry about the nerve injury. It will make no any asymmetry. And we do the threading in this area, which means the threading inside the premaxillary space. Here is the premaxillary space. You see? But if we do the threading under the lip levator muscle, it's very dangerous. We see this model. Here is the orbicularis muscle. Here is the orbital retaining ligament and the zygomatic cutaneous ligament over here. Between the orbicularis muscle and the preocciput is the pre-zygomatic space. And between the orbital muscle and the lip levator muscle is the premaxillary space. Here is the subcutaneous layer. Here, and Also, we say that the suprasmart, the superficial layer. Here is the deep layer. We think it's very dangerous to do the threading under a smart, In fact, it's very safe. Here, the layer over here is very safe. And if we do the threading inside here, we can prevent irregularity caused by superficial threading. We can prevent. We don't worry about the ultrasonic media check group I showed before, and we don't worry about the medial check group. We don't worry about that. And it's also very safe because the facial nerve inside here will not make a symmetry of your smile. The only one you should be keep in mind is the one about 2.5 centimeter away from the lateral cancers. Here. So we call the mid-face threading. We can transfer from this to the mid-face. The pathway we can make very easy to prevent complication, to prevent injury of the nerve, to prevent arthrogenic depression, to prevent egregor depression. So how to design the pathway to prevent complication and the pathway happen. Okay, now the buccal branch. Here is the symptom after threading. You see, twitch, and spasm after threading, and weakness. Buccal branch, the location is unpredictable. From this paper, the buccal branch, you see many papers from different countries, from 1 to 4 places. So the location of the buccal branch is not very important because it's unpredictable. But here is the most vulnerable area. Also, is under the liberating muscle. In fact, we don't worry about it because when we do the threading, how to prevent the threading under the liberating muscle? You can do this. Use your smart hand. When we snap off your mother area over here, the liberating muscle cannot be snapped up because all of the liberating muscle, the origin of the liberating muscle is on the zygoma bone. So the muscle can be snapped up. So we can snap, when we do this procedure, snap up, we can only catch the superficial modified pad, and we can only catch the smarts. We can only make the premaxillary space open, but the liberating muscle cannot be elevated. So we do the threading. When we do the snap like this, all of the thread will not under the liberating muscle. It's very safe. But we do not do the lip threading from this way to your interface. Because when we do the threading from this to this, maybe the thread will transfer under the liberating muscle. So when we do the interface lifting from this, we kill. But from this way, do the snap. Don't worry, it's very safe. So now the mid-face, I always do deep threading. In fact, it's very safe and can prevent the complication. But I do the lower face, I do the superficial threading and deep threading. I will show later. How about the buccal branch, the tips of the buccal branch? The buccal branch protected by the parietal muscle. Parietal masseter fascia. The parietal masseter fascia covers the buccal nerve. In fact, maybe in the cardiovascularization, I will show you. The parietal masseter fascia is very smooth. So if you do use the blunt needle, it not transfer inside, produced by the power muscle fascia. And we are worried about is the marginal medial nerve. Here is the marginal medial nerve injury due to threading, asymmetry of their lower lift. Sometimes the DL affected, and for more serious, the DLI also affected. What's the location of marginal medial nerve? Oh my, many data. So journal talking about the marginal medial nerve. In fact, I think it's not important. It's not important. Why? Some papers say 30%, 40%, blah 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 blah. It's not important because here, when the position will affect the location of the marginal nerve. Here you see, when the patient extend their neck or turn your neck to the right side or the left side, will make the marginal nerve change their location. So when we want to define or we want to prevent injury of the marginal nerve, it's not important to know where is the location. We should know where is the depth. Because all of the position or the gesture will change the nerve, the location of the marginal nerve, like this. But here, a very important number. When we want to prevent injury to the marginal nerve, the facial artery is very important. Lateral to the facial artery, the marginal nerve may be inferior to the mandible border or superior to the mandible border. However, medial to the facial artery, all of the marginal nerve is above the mandible. So when we do the threading of the neck, the medial side we don't worry about it, but the lateral side we should be careful about the marginal nerve. Here, 100% above the lower border of the mandible. It's very important. And where is the deepest, most vulnerable zone? Is the conclusion. The first one is when the nerve across the facial artery. So when we do the threading, we should touch about where is the facial artery, because the marginal medial nerve is close the facial artery. So here, lateral side, lateral face, the marginal medial nerve, where is the most superficial area is the facial artery, because the nerve will across the facial artery. So here is very easy to injury. And the other way is here, when the marginal medial nerve transfer inside the DAO. Inside DAO, the nerve is very easy to traction and easy to injury. And how do we know the nerve, where is the side of the nerve into the DAO? How to define the point here? The marginal medial nerve, the side where it go into the DAO is the lateral border of the mandibular ligament. The lateral border of the ligament. It means here. We can do like this. Before we have marking, you can lift in your face like this. We can see the skin over here, it cannot be lifted because it fixed by the mandible border. But here is more easily to lift it. So you can define the lateral border of the mandibular ligament, and here is the most area potential to injury to the marginal member nerve. So the one is the area with the facial arteries, and the other one is the lateral border of the mandibular ligament. Okay, I say all of the facial nerve ways we should be careful, and now we're talking about the sensory nerve injury. We'll go faster. We don't worry about the supratracheal nerve injury. We don't worry about it because the supratracheal nerve have many anastomosis. However, we should be careful about the supraorbital nerve. The supraorbital nerve have two branches: the superficial branch and the deep branch. Superficial branch and deep branch. Here we see the superficial branch sometimes have 2 or 3 branches. And the superficial branch of the supraorbital nerve is about 2 centimeters from the deep area to the superficial area. Here. It's about from the deep to the superficial. It means inside this area, the nerve under the frontalis, very deep. So when we do the threading, here we not go too deep, because we go too deep maybe it will injury to the trunk of the supraorbital nerve. Will make anesthesia or numbness, and the nerve will above the frontalis about 2 centimeters. But this is more important. We should be keep in mind the supraorbital nerve have a potential like this, oblique line. From here to go superficial, go superficial, go superficial. It means the lateral side, the nerve will, much of the nerve is under the muscle, and the medial side, much of the nerve is above the muscle. So when I do the threading, because the forehead, the skin is very thin. In fact, we cannot always keep the thread above the frontalis because the skin is very thin. And if you do the cold threading in the subcutaneous layer of the forehead, in fact, will make an irregularity, or the thread will be seen by the patient. So we should some area will keep the thread under the muscle. So the medial side, I will have the thread here. I have under the muscle, and the lateral side here under the muscle, just here, and here the thread goes superficial. You know what I mean? You know. The medial side, the medial side, the nerve is always more superficial. So the thread, the medial side, the thread under the muscle over here, and here superficial, just here. But the lateral side, the nerve is always under the muscle. So here the nerve is more superficial, but here the nerve is more deep. It's different. By this way, we can prevent the numbness of the scalp. You know what I mean? But we should be careful. It's not only the superficial branch of the supraorbital nerve, but also the deep branch of the supraorbital nerve. Here is the deep branch. Because the deep branch of the supraorbital nerve is always 1 or 2 main trunk. If it is injury, it will make a numbness over here. It's the deep branch. Some data over here, but I think most important is this 50 degree here. The triangle, very interesting. you remember the frontal branch of the facial nerve is about 1.5 centimeter above the lateral cancers. And here we see the deep branch of the supraorbital nerve have a triangle like this. So here we have a safe zone to do the threading. Here. So when we do the threading, we always do like this. But if we want to have a better result, we can use this triangle, have another fixation I will show later. It's very safe because inside this triangle, no sensory nerve and no frontal branch of facial nerve. It's very safe. So I say keep in mind 1.5 centimeter, okay, and here a triangle. A triangle. Now it's the forehead, how to prevent injury of the nerve, the frontal branch, the sensory branch. So we do the forehead lifting, we'll see later, we can use the triangle later. And another sensory nerve injury we should be keeping in mind is zygomatic nerve. Here supplied by the infraorbital nerve, here supplied by the zygomatic nerve. However, the zygomatic nerve, the area about the zygomatic is about 1 centimeter from the orbital rim. But don't worry, because the zygomatic nerve is not only one branch, so if it injury, it will recover about 1 or 2 months later. So don't worry about it. Here is the zygomatic nerve, sensory nerve, many branch, and the infraorbital nerve. And every doctor know about the infraorbital nerve, and we know the how to define the location of the infraorbital nerve. Always we say that the infraorbital nerve is under the pupil, yeah. In fact, it's not the truth. If we want to define the infraorbital foramen, the infraorbital nerve is medial to the pupil about 2 or 4 millimeter. Medial, not the same line. It's not the same line. The infraorbital nerve have 5 branch, like this, have 5 branch. Okay, here, it's medial to the middle pupil line. The infraorbital nerve is under the LOS muscle, under. So when we do the deep threading, which means under the orbicular muscle and above the LOS muscle, it's very safe. We don't worry about injury to the infraorbital nerve. So some other things, when we do the deep threading over here, we'll make anomalies over here. No. Because the main trunk of the infraorbital nerve is under the LOS muscle, under. Here, we see the layer. It will make it clear. Okay. What's wrong? Here is the orbicularis muscle. Here is the LOS muscle, the lip elevator muscle. Here is the LAO muscle. The LAO muscle is just above the maxilla bone. It's close to the maxilla bone. So here is the subcutaneous layer, which means the superficial layer, which means the suprasmos layer. Here is the subsmos layer, the deep layer. All these 2 layers is very safe. Don't worry about the facial nerve. Don't worry about the sensory nerve. The only side we should be careful about the facial nerve is 2.5 centimeter from here, remember? But here is very safe. So these 2 layers, the suprasmos and the subsmos, is very safe. But under the lip related muscle, under lip related muscle is dangerous. Here have the facial nerve which supply the lip related muscle, and also here have the infraorbital nerve. It's very dangerous. But when we do the threading, it's very safe over here. And when we do the threading in the subsmass here, we can prevent the irregularity of the mean face. Okay? Now it's very clear. Okay?
language barrier มันจะมีแบบ AI แปลภาษา
Because of time. So now we know the danger zone. We know the irregularity, how to happen. So how to design your pathway. Now here, the zygoid ligament, we should prevent the transverse facial septum, we should avoid it. And here, the medial tract septum, superficial temporal septum. I said the frontal branch over here is very dangerous, remember? So we do the forehead threading, we not cross here. I know we do the pro lifting, cross the superficial. We think it's very reasonable. Very reasonable because we do the surgery like this, facelift surgery, but we do the threading like this. The threading traces to the superior temporal septum. In fact, it's sometimes very dangerous. I have more than 20 videos about injury to this. Some doctors send the video to me. That's mean why their eyebrow cannot move because they do the threading trace to the superior temporal septum. It's very dangerous. So when we do the forehead lifting, not cross this line. And later I will show how to use the triangle over here to have a better result. And how to do the mid-face lifting. If you want to do superficial threading, now we should prevent go through the ligament and the nerve veer. And if you want to do the superficial threading of the lower face, I will prevent through the McGregor page and the transverse facial septum. Or like this, many pathways like this, but maybe the U-shape, but it's all the concepts like come from this. Or we can do the deep threading of the mid-face. The deep threading like this will prevent irregularity of the mid-face, and we don't worry about facial nerve or sensory nerve injury. And the lower face, we can also make a better result under the arch like this. So the pathway designed like this. It's it's the thinking process of the pathway. It's the thinking process of how I design the pathway. And it's the simple type. We can have some more complicated variability. For example, good or some small skill to have better result. Okay, now we're talking about what's the plan of the pathway. I show you that, and now what's the plan and how to do that? We know the 5-layer anatomy concept was accepted widely. It's the model, the ligament. Between the ligament, okay, it's like a house. Here is the house top, and here is the penthouse, and here is the roof, the room, the floor, and here is the wall. We know the vessel or the nerve is inside the wall, or inside the roof, or under the floor. Okay, that's this room. It's a model. And in fact, our phrase, most of the area like two houses near boring to each other, like this. For example, if we distinguish our face into forehead, temporal mid face, lower face, it's like two nearby houses. I will show you later. Okay. Why our face have descend or have dropping? The models like this.
อันนี้ก็เห็นภาพ
And it make concave of the face, convex of the face because of this model.
อัน
You
นี้
can
สี
see.
ฟ้าๆนั่นคืออะไร
Her
ฟ้าๆ
superstar,
อมๆมันคือ
Judy Foster, yeah.
มันคืออะไรใช่ไหม
I like her. And when she is young, well, very beautiful. Get aged, concave and convex. Concave and convex. Concave and convex.
เพราะเราอยากได้เด็กเราต้องเอ็น
So, when we do the threading, we can have superficial threading and deep threading. Combined with this, we will make a better result. And with feeder, we will have a best result.
หนังข้างบนก็ยัง
Like this?
ยัง
Okay. So, I do the threading, the concept from here. Now we say the first part, the lower face. The lower face, the jaw can be classified into three different types, like this. The type 1, type 2, type 3. Again, the type 1 from elasticity of the skin. The type 2 from dropping of the buccal fat pad. And the type 3 from elasticity of the mass. So when we do the threading, we can correct the three different type of jaw. In fact, the test, we're discussing about the aging of the lower face. The old textbook ignore the importance of the buccal fat pad. Here is the model of the lower face. It's the lateral check septum, remember? Lateral check septum. And here is the premasseter ligament. And here is the premasseter space. Okay? So when we're getting edge, like a house, make a concave and convex. Okay, now we are discussing about the importance of the buccal fat pad because in the old textbook we ignore the importance of the buccal fat pad. So I have a study. This study we collect a patient for 10 years in Taiwan in Chang'an Hospital. This is the buccal fat pad. The buccal fat pad is this. Buccal fat pad. Yeah, I'm the head neck surgeon before. Yeah. The buccal fat pad from the MRI. I say the conclusion. We follow the patient for 10 years. We find the buccal fat pad have two main extensions. The one is the temporal extension, and the other is the buccal extension. The temporal extension will not change with aging. However, the buccal extension will getting longer and longer, or maybe you can say it descend more and more. About 0.83 millimeter per year. It's not so, it's not many. However, it's about 1 centimeter per 10 years. The biofed pad will descend. About 1 centimeter per 10 years. So we prove this and publish. So the biofed pad is another very important cause of the jaw. The lifting effect of the superficial threading and biofed is not different. We see when we do the skin tightening, still have some bulging of the jaw.
ใช่
So if we want to correct the jaw much better, we should lift in the biofed pad for some
ง่ายมาก
patient, for some
ทั้งที่จ
patient.
ริงๆแล้วแบบหน้าลีนมาก
นี่ตัวตอนนี้นั่งผมหายไป
อ๋อเหรอดีขึ้น
When we do
แบ
the
บไม่ขึ้นจะดูแบบหน้า
biofed
เก๋ๆ
pad
แบบเดี๋ยวมันอายุ
threading
ยังไม่ถึง
here,
25เลย
no surgery, just do the threading. You see,
บอกว่าเอ็นดูฟิวกิ้งน่ารัก
สามี
we only do the threading of the lower face, 2 threads each side, 2 threads each side.
แบบพีพีก็คือหน้าลีนมาก
The
พีพี
face
หน้าลีนมาก
make it smaller. Now, the result like pectomy, but no surgery. Why? We do the subarch threading. We lifting the thread under the arch. This will make the face smaller, dramatic, like this.
ดรามาติกมากจริงคิดว่าเกิดใหม่
And for some age patient, here is the young patient. You want to have a small face,
อันนี้แบบเหมยตัว
and this patient have do the inject the lipolysis for many times, but still have a baby face. So we do the subarch threading like
คือดู
this.
เหมือนพลาง
And for the age patient, here concave of the cheek,
เห
convex
มือนตัว
of
ปะ
the
เนี่ยหลอก
jaw.
กูปะเนี่ย
When we do the biofed lifting,
ดูดีเกิน
it's like a feeding over the cheek. But in fact, it's only do the subarch threading.
ยิงไฟคนละมือหรือ
We
เปล่า
lifting the biofed from here to here.
แต่ว่ามันมีงานประชุม
And also we prevent the depression of the superficial threading.
มีหมอเอารูปจากเหมยตัวคือดูก็รู้แล้วมันใส่ชุดเดียวกันเลยขึ้นมาพรีเซนต์เป็นหมอครับเหมือนฟิลิปปิน
We
ส์
see
ใส่ชุด
how
เดี
to
ยวกัน
do the
เป๊ะ
lip
เลย
threading under the arch.
ดูชัด
Here is the spines. Here is the spines.
ๆหมอคนฟิลิป
And here is the temporal
แบบ
fossa.
คนไข้ใส่ชุดเดียวกันทุกรูป
So we do the threading under the arch. Under the arch. Inside the temporal extension of the biofed and under the arch to do the lip threading. In fact, it's very easy. It's true. You see, I have an instrument under the arch. You know the Gideon approach? When the patient have the zygoma arch fracture, we have the instrument like this, and under the arch, pop, make the arch corrected. It's the Gideon approach. It's a very safe and simple procedure. We do the subarch threading like this, under the arch. In fact, when we do the threading under the arch, you don't worry about the facial nerve injury, because all of the facial nerve is above this area. We don't worry about that. No facial nerve will injury. It's Gideon approach like this. Okay, like this. So, but what we should be careful, the potential danger zone when we do the subarch threading here is the pterygomanual space.
ไปร้อยว่า
inside the space have some nerve and
เข้าไป
some
สมองแล้วใช่ไหม
artery.
ทิ้งถูก
However, the pterygon, where is the pterygon medial space?
ดูน่าสิว่า
And here is the infratemporal fossa, very, very deep. In fact, we will not inside here. Don't worry, it's very, very deep. Because it's under the temporalis. However, we do the threading above the temporalis. So some doctors say that, oh, Dr. John, you do the supralis threading. However, here is very dangerous. However, it's very dangerous. In fact, the direction is different. We see the video like this. Here is the pterygopalatine fossa. Very, very deep. But the temporalis muscle cover the space. Also cover the infratemporal fossa. So don't worry about it. We do the threading under the arch, but above the temporalis muscle. It's very safe. Okay? Here is the infratemporal fossa. Under the temporalis muscle. You see, under the temporalis muscle. Don't worry.
มันเข้าไปตรงนั้นเลย
So, how to do
พัน
that?
สิบมีเด็กสอบมา
Most important is the direction of the needle. You see, I trace through the
ตรง
needle.
วันนี้มันไม่ใช่
Very
เนื้อ
easy.
อินเวสีแล้ว
When we do the threading, tomorrow I will show you. If you are the beginner, from the bottom to the top is much easy. I show you the video in the morning. Remember, on the mouse corner is very, very easy. Maybe you can try that 2 or 3 times. You can practice it from here. Easy. But it's more difficult from the upper to the lower part.
เดี๋ยวกลายเป็นแบบเข็ม
Here
ขาด
is
เอ
the
ฟเฟกต์
pathway. Is the pathway. When the patient lying down, the tip of the needle, you should the direction should to your chin, to the chin of the patient. Okay?
How come you are sure that you didn't enter the oral cavity?
ใช่เป็นอยู่
Sorry, oral cavity. Yeah, yes.
Hello. How come do you
Must have
show
been like
that
that.
you did not enter the
Yeah,
oral
yes, yes.
cavity?
ป
Yes.
วดที่พาเลทเลย
You are
Because I
so.
have seen many of my junior
Sure.
students using the needle.
Yeah, yes.
And then on this space, even above, right above the arch.
Yes,
And then
yes.
they go puncture into the oral
Yes,
cavity.
yes, yes. Small skill. I will show you tomorrow. We should use your smart hand.
อ้าว
The
พรุ่ง
touch
นี้ไม่
back
มาพรุ่งนี้
the soft tissue will
มาสองวัน
buckle.
เลย
เอาล้อ
That will make it
แต่วันนี้พรุ่ง
more
นี้
easy.
ไปทำงานพรุ่งนี้วันหาตังค์
A
วันเสา
small
ร์ว่า
skill. It's like the deep plan of the malafet. You also use your smart hand.
มาวันเดียว
Smart hand is very important. To threading, always keep in mind your left hand. Because we make it easy and prevent the complication.
ฝากหนูไปศึกษาและทำเนี่ยไม่ให้เข้าปากถามเขาด้วยว่าเข้าปาก
Hello.
เพชร
One more thing is the buccal fat pad there,
จะช่วยยังไง
above the pterygo mandibular space that you mentioned, is actually it's quite thin, right? The
Actually,
space here. If
Yeah.
you palpate your mouth,
yeah, and it's the direction is like this.
go parallel.
Yeah. So it's different. We go the direction like this, but the pterygopalatine fossa is like this.
Mm.
Like this is it.
Yes.
We want this, but the danger fossa is like this. So don't worry.
Okay.
The
So
direction is
when
different.
you go from the temporal fossa there, and then you direction behind the arch, how do you know that it will not enter the superficial temporal fat pad, which is above the deep fat pad,
Oh.
and then hit to the bone?
In fact, maybe I don't know how to say because we should show it on the kata section.
Because the deep temporal fascia, they have two kura.
Yeah, today.
Okay, so then you go below the deep kura.
Yes.
And gliding on the
Yes.
the muscle and the fat pad.
Yes.
So it might be soft
Yes.
in that layer.
Yes.
And then you go through. And one more thing is, if I'm using the cannula,
Yeah.
maybe be more confident. But
Yeah.
what I'm using is the
Needle,
trocar,
yeah.
the needle.
Yes, in fact, I design a needle.
Needle
The needle tip is the wrong tip, so it's very
เส้น
safe.
เลือดตรงไหน
It's
ก็
not
แท
a
งหม
sharp
ด
tip. I will show you tomorrow. I design
เขาเคยเจอ
the
แบบ
tip.
bleed
Yeah,
Uh,
that's great.
needle.
Because this is what we want to learn
Yeah.
at this time to go up below the zygomatic arch. That make us more confident. Because I think that if you're going to get this plane, you can hold on to the tissue
Yes.
stronger and maybe
Yes.
lasting effect will be longer.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think that all of the question is so important here. The brown needle to trace through the deep temporal is very difficult, so I design a needle. Also, I use the needle for some complicated pathway. When I want to change the direction, I use the needle and have many variability methods. Maybe I will show you tomorrow. And the mirror phase, in fact, the mirror phase is when we're talking about anatomy. Now you know it's very
ไม่
simple.
มีใครสนใจเขาบอกยังไม่เปิดให้ถามจ้าต้องรอคิวใช่เดี๋ยวรอ Q&A
Here
ลืม
you see the
เดี๋ยว
video.
ถึง Q&A ลืมแล้ว
You see the model over here. So we do the
ก่อน
threading
ก่อนฟ้า
inside
นี่
the
คือ
space.
อ๋อสเปซเหรอเป็น
And sometimes when we do the superficial traction of the knee face, the tissue will accumulate all of the zygoma and make the prominent zygoma. From this video, you can know about the anatomy of the knee face more clearly. Maybe in the cardiovascular we can talking about some doctor from Taiwan. They asked me about the anatomy of the knee face. Asked me where is the DMCF, deep medial check fatty pad. From the journal, you see all of the journal not have a clear definition of DMCF. Maybe we can talking about it in the cardiovascular. In fact, the knee face, the anatomy of the face is very complicated. The deep plane threading, you see here, we have very good gifting and will not make the zygoma more prominent
อันนี้เปลี่ยนชุดแล้วไม่น่าใช่
and prevent depression of the threading. I see the thread in this area, and also use your smart hand. Okay, we see here is the temporal fossa, here is the zygoma, the orbital ring. Under the arch is the subarch threading of the lower face. And now, above the arch, inside the prismatic space, is the deep threading of the knee face. So here, under the arch, the lower face, above the arch is the deep threading of the knee face. So when I do the threading, sometimes I use this, the one end of the thread under the arch, the other end of the threading do the mid face threading. That will make the threading like a pivot. So when the lower face getting down, it will make the mid face more up, and the mid face getting down will make the lower face more up. Will make a balance and a better
ข้างล่าง
result.
ไปเลยไอ้
So
รอบ
we can use one thread
รอบไป
for
คัน
more effect, more lifting effect.
มันดึงกันเองดีนะ
Oh, we see how to do the B-phase deep plane threading. Very simple.
very simple ไหนดูหน่อย
simple ทุกคน
สำหรับเซอร์เจียนนะก็เขาเปิดออกมาสมมติมันมีปัญหาเขาก็เปิดได้เราเป็นเรา
Using my smart hand lifting the mother feed pin. All the tissue above the leaf-related muscle will rest, snap, and we do the deep plane threading. Don't worry about sensory nerve or facial injury.
มันทำให้อินเฟกแล้วก็แบบต่อเข้าไปในเบรนแล้วก็แบบว่า
It's easy.
เบรนแอคเซส
Okay. And the upper face, the model is like this, but because of time, I will show how I do we can use the triangle, the same triangle with the upper face. When we do the threading from here, the tail of the thread, we can make a small loop like this, have a better result, especially for the tail of the eyebrow. When you go the forehead threading, sometimes the tail of the thread is cutting, but I use the residual thread to make a loop like this, have a better result.
แค่นี้ก็สวยแล้วนี่จะดึงเหยียบเสร็จก็สวย
And it's very safe. Okay, by this way, we can also not improve the dropping of the eyebrow, but also improve the convex of the forehead.
ก็ให้ดูดีมากเลย
Okay.
หน้าผากโหนกเลย
The next one is the exit point. Okay, very short. Okay, here the ligament,
เรียนจบแล้วบินไป
the fixed face and the mobile face. Sometimes the choice the exit point is the lateral to the ligament and some medial to the ligament. It's the advantage here is the shortcoming. In fact, if you want to have long-lasting effect, you should medial to the ligament. However, you
สี
should
แบบนี้
be careful about the irregularity and the
ป้อง
protruding.
กันการถ่ายเอกสาร
So we use some skill to prevent irregularity and have better result. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chan. Do we have any questions? Okay, I would like to thank and Dr. Chan will be with us until the end. I would like to invite Dr. Danai. Thank you very much, Dr. Chan. Dr. Danai for next topic of the fresh approach for beauty. Dr. Danai Predisuwan graduated from Chiang Mai University and complete his orthopedic surgeon training 1995, and he is a KOL for many companies. So today he will talk about this for the good outcome for the surgeon. So please welcome Dr. Danai.
Everyone. My topic today, I will share with you about how I develop anything outcome in strategy in my practice. And today I try to talk in the simple way that mostly the practitioner can adopt to use in your practice. First of all, I would like to declare myself.
เขาดูดีหมายถึงว่าเทียบกับอายุ
Okay.
สูงไปพอสมควร
I come from the physical background, but right now I do just practitioner in Chiang Mai, the north of Thailand. And I also work as KOLs and join educational program, talk and train for aesthetic and also relive immunity for the products. When we talk about the thread, in my ideas, I just focus in the suspension devices that we can use it to rejuvenate our patients by reposition and use the thread material to make the biostimulation effect. However, when we talk about the thread, mostly young doctors might think about the elderly patients that need to do rejuvenations. But we can use the thread to recontour as Dr. Yang already showed some successful case in young patients as well.
หน้าเปลี่ยนเลย
And let's take a look about the aging manifestation in our patients. As you can see, mostly of the aging manifestation is quite related to the position of the retaining ligament that attach skin. And as you can see, we have many ligaments that hold the soft tissue sit on the bone. That is true and the full ligament, but we have one the stick point that we name it the facial ligamentous line that can separate face largely to lateral fixed face, the anterior mobile face. They have the paper published in Aesthetic Plastic Surgery in 2004 by Dr. Thierry Besson that mentioned about the face can be divided into 3 vertical sectors. The lateralmost is the most thick area that named metaface. The centralmost is the area that named profit in this paper. That is the area that involves the area of interpersonal communications. But they have the area in between that named mesoface that affect with the term sliding stone. Mesoface that include the area of temporal regions, the tail of the eyebrows, mandible regions. This area is ineffective to support by the facial retaining ligament, so it's prone to ptosis. That's why here is the area mostly our practitioners use to reposition the psychic tissue at the mesoface to feel in proper position at the metaface in the periphery of the face. Where do assessment? Then we can may work. Okay. When I do facial assessment, I respect to the basic 5-layer facial anatomy. As we know, the agings that occur in all layers, dynamically and gradually by times, but it manifests in different signs of the aging when you see the patient's topography. So accurate assessment can determine the correct diagnosis that can keep the good outcome in track within. As a matter of fact, all that soft tissue is located and supported by the facial bony structure in the 3 dimensions. As you can see in the frontal plane, the facial soft tissue is held tightly with the bone from the upper to the lower. But in the sagittal plane, the facial soft tissue lacks of the rigid bone support, especially the lower 2/3 of the face. In the normal situation, when we take a look in our patient's face, you can see the facial soft tissue is hang on the different dimensions from mid to the lower face. Let's take a look in the sagittal plane. The facial soft tissue is hang with the zygomatic arc and the mandibular bodies. But in the front plane, the soft tissue just supported by the maxillary bone in the front face, by the transition zone at the zygomaticus major origin. So it's located as 3 dimensions. So the way that I think for facial recontour to make it simply, just imagine the facial soft tissue act as a thick curtain that hang up on the facial upper and lower bony rod. The key to recontour is make the facial soft tissue thick, tight, and lift, and try to support the facial bony rod that become declined with lengthened and supported, but keep natural and 3-dimension result. So how can we do about the thickness and loose of the curtain, a thick curtain? We can use the layer number 2 that we name the superior fat compartment, that we can use thread lifting to reposition and revitalization from the suture material to make this stackiness of the curtain thicker. However, in aesthetic medicine, we couldn't do that much for the facial bone that become declined by time. So we adopt the HF filler to use as a volume replacement in that some specific area to make the lot more lengthened and supported. For providing guideline to simplify to choose the appropriate treatment, we also have the misfit aging classification that this classification is related to the quality of tissue and the degree of the stackiness of the tissue. So we can guide to the main therapeutic approach and can choose properly the main treatment. And now I'd like to talk a little bit about the thread that I always use in my practice, that is a definite thread. The definite thread is the bidirectional convergent thread. The suture material is come from the PCL and PLA in the specific ratios. They're providing right now in our country just two types. The first type,
100 เส้นประมาณ
as you
10
can
นาที
see in the photo, is the four needles that become two SKU, the short one and the long one. The short and the long one is come with different length of the needles.
เห็นเขาร้อยเสร็จกูไม่ร้อยเลย
By training to make it easier, we also provide the 5 basic techniques for the needle thread that mostly refer to the vector that we do in the surgical facet. The first 3 basic techniques is the first one is the jawline reshaping. The second one is the malar reshaping.
กาแฟมานั่งจับ
เสียสมาธิมากเลย โอเค ได้ไหมครับ Okay. The third one is lateral reshaping. All this type is mostly conferred to น้องครับ จอมันไม่เห็น Sorry for some technical issue. มันน้องมาดูในนี้มันคลิกไม่ได้มันขึ้นอย่างนี้พูดภาษาไทยได้ไหมครับ ส่วนใหญ่เป็นคนไทยใช่ไหมครับอ๋อต่างชาติด้วยเหรอครับ
But you're okay.
Yes.
I mean, for your lecture is quite nice and understandable.
Yeah, so I would like to mention a little bit because this thread is quite easy to execute in your practice if you adopt it to treat your patients. The first key technique mostly confer to more lateral vectors that compose of the first one try to focus on the jaw rise, the second try to hit at the midcheek, and the third to make the more define of both the jaw rise and the midcheek. And all this is focused at the lateral vectors. So when we choose the patient, should be notified that in some particular patients you may make the face more wider for these vectors. And the second two is more vertical vectors that compose of the oval reshaping V shape and oval reshaping I. So that is mostly suitable for Asian patients when we do Asian consensus by the technique. Move on to the second type of the thread that we name the free folding. The free folding thread is the same bidirectional convergence. This thread we use more focusing in the mid-face indications. Because the thread is come with a naked thread, so we adopt the spinal needles 20 G 90 millimeter length to augment the thread into the tissue. Let's talk about the lag. As we listen to Dr. Shah, that is very advanced, intensive, very fruitful anatomy knowledge that I'm very impressed for your talk. But mostly for definite thread, we just make it simply that everyone, young doctors can use in your practice. The correct layer should be the layer number 2, because layer number 2 first is safe. Second is abandon of the structure that we name it retinal tracheosis. So when you move in this layer, you can move together with the smear and the skin together and give the repositioning effect. And if you take a look in the facial topography on the anatomy, you see this is just simply is the fat, all the fat, without the essential vascular structure.
รู้แล้วทำไมมันถึงโล่ง
I'd like to share with you the idea that if you choose proper patients with a simple technique, you can give very beautiful result
ไปของ
and
กาแฟ
very
ทั้
natural.
งวันเลย
Like this one,
30 กิโล
the simple, the sample case of the patient that I do ear jaw reshaping. This is my second most common in my practice that I use in patients has high aging signs of the
บอก
lower
น้องที่
part.
อยู่ตรงนั้นบอกว่า
And we do the jaw
ถ้ามัน
reshaping
จะ
is
ตายแล้ว
also impact the whole face with more balance and harmonizations. And here is another technique that we conclude that this is the most common technique that we use with definite thread. This technique named over reshaping V shape. So we use the entry or anchoring point at the auricular area, and we sustain the total fat
แบบนี้
at
คิดตั้งแต่
the
ปี
jaw
995
and the jawline back
ถึงจะทำได้
upward. And here is the result of the crest. That you can see, the result is very natural
ใช่
and
คือ
very
เขาไปเกี่ยวนุ่ม
balancing
อะไร
for
เขา
the
ก็
whole
แก้
face.
ได้
And patients look
ฝึก
used
มา
and
เลย
to
เป็น
rejuvenate
ครู
them.
กูจะไปเปิดที่
Here
ไหน
is
บ้าน
another
ไม่รู้
technique
ว่า
that I seldom to use it in Asian patients that name MR
แค่
technique.
แบบพิมพ์มาจากบ้าน
Actually,
ก็
this
ตายแล้วคนไข้
technique
จะ
is
ฟ้อง
quite
ไม่ว่า
safe and very easy to
เรื่อง
use
คือ
because
ค
you
น
just
เก่า
go
มันต่าง
in
กัน
with
เขา
one
เป็นเซอ
entry
ร์เจน
point
ถ้าเป็น
and
เรา
you
ไป
just
ทำ
press it out
ตาย
with
โด
two
น
sharp
ตา
needle at the nasal fat
เป็นพลาส
pad.
ติกเนี่ยทำแล้ว
And
ไม่
you
มีใคร
can
กล้า
get the
ด่า
result like these cases. As you can see, you can shrink the face and make the face look lifted. But in Asians, you can see some patients might not like the result because it's widened the mara, the zygomatic width. So just be concerned in some patients that if you want to do this technique. Another technique that I think is very effective to lift the patient. We have the very healthy and chubby face that name the OIH. The OIH we use a pair of thread per side, and we go in the entry point and the zygomatic area and go upward one arm of the needle and one go downward to lift the soft tissue up. And here is the result of the simple thing that we do, just basic technique for the definite thread. However, the thread can be used in the combinations. After this, I will show you some cases that I do the thread, combine the thread in different stations. These cases, he joined my masterclass training in Chiang Mai. Actually, he's my younger brother. So he joined as a subject to do ORV technique. And as you can see, this is immediate result after. The whole face look rejuvenated. Soft tissue slack downward. When you pull it upward, you can feel not only in the front plane, but in the oblique and in profile view, you can see the result is quite natural.
อยู่ที่ทริปของอาจารย์
However, when I take a look in next session, in next workshop, about 1 year after, I see some furrow, some hole around the furry oral for him. So I asked him again to join my workshop and do the free folding for my subject. And here is the result after 2 pieces of free folding per side. As you can see, when you move upward in the vertical direction, in the frontal end, you can see it's dramatic lifting of the early labial mandibular fold and superomedial jaw fat nicely and very naturally. Result. Again, I'd like to share with you one of the interesting case that I think the issue for her with the combination of the thread in the different station. This case is referred to me because she failed from another aesthetic treatment, not only the bone toxin, the filler injection, but also the energy-based devices. And she still complained about her sagginess, sad and tight look. So after discussion with patients, we decided to do the free folding thread in the different technique, but each side of the face. This is the way that I do the treatment plan. I'd like to share with you how I do my procedure. For the definite free folding, we start from locate the target area and then draw the safety line 1 and 2 and then identify the entry point and the exit point. By the technique of the free folding, we need to use a no pop zone in the area that we make projection of the soft tissue. So that is the circle of the red one that I try to make a target area to make tissue accumulation at the Mara area of these cases. Here is the illustration of the vector that I try to do. The left side is not severe compared to the right side, so I use just a pair of the thread on this side. We start from draw everything, and then we identify the essential area that we have to pass through the sharp needles. I use very small amount of 2% silicon with adrenaline. For the side of face, mostly I use about 2 to 3 ml of the lidocaine injection. We inject all the area that we need to pass through the sharp spinal needle to the soft tissue. All the procedure we do just in the land number 2. First for safety, and second for no downtime. And after identify all the area, we let my staff to do under full sterile preparation. This is the way I pass through the first the spinal needles, and then we just measure the area of no pop zone in the center, and then we implant the thread. After we implant, we remove the stylet of the spinal needles. We just manipulate by gently, meticulously, tissue to hook up the umbrella of the cup to the tissue, and then you can see the lifting, minimal lifting effect. For the second arm, we use as the lifting, so we go to the target area and then turn the needles downward to the supromedial jaw fat, and then remove the stylet, measurement the target area of no pop zone in the center, and then we just implant gently and nicely. And after we remove the stylet, and then we manipulate the tissue. After finish this side, we go to another side. We use a quite similar technique, but I do more threaded because the right side is more heavier compared to the left side. We start the same. The first arm of the thread go pass to the target area of the leg circle, and then go to exit at the distal part of nasal fat pad. Measurement and put it in.
ใช่จำได้เลยปีที่แล้วที่งาน W Camp ที่เขา110 นาทีเหมือน
The second arm run parallel because I want more lifting effect for the heavy tissue.
มันไม่คมคือไอ้
And remove it.
ตัวเนี้ยมันเขาก็เลย
The
ทำ
third
ต้อง
one
ใช้
is
เจาะ
just
รู
simply
แล้วก็
to
แบบ
go into the tissue and then turn downward
ใช้
to
สไป
the
นอลนีดเดิล
infralateral jaw fat.
เหมือนไอ้อันที่บริษัทมันให้มาจะเป็นแบบร้อยไหมธรรมดาคือแบบเป็นแบบไม่คมเป็นแบบปลายไม่ใช่นีดเดิลใช่เป็น
I think it's very simply to go to the target area and turn downward to the lower part. It's quite easy.
เห็นการทำก็ดูยากอยู่
And okay, I want to show you
คิด
this
ใน
is
ใจไม่ร้อยละไหมชีวิตนี้
the immediately result after treatment. As you can see, my dripping appear at the nasal fat is disappeared in a few days, and
ดีขึ้นมากเลย
we can follow up the patient in 1 month. As you can see, the whole face is more balancing, more harmonized, and you can see the shortening of the litchi junction. And it is the result in the optic view. As you can see, it's not also impact at the mid-face area, it's also redefine the jaw lines, the lower jaw lines. And here is another aspect of the face. And here on the profile view, you can see more clear definition of the lower part as well when the subject is locally positioned upward.
พาแม่ไปร้อยไหม
However, patients still concerned about the sackiness and asymmetry between
เขียน
the
ไว้
line
ไม่กล้า
and
ฉีด
the
ฟิลเลอร์ให้
side.
แม่ละ
So we discussed together and we decided to do more about the thread
ดีนะเป็น
with
แม่
double
ไม่ฟ้อง
meter,
กูโดน
20
ฟ้องแน่นอน
centimeter in different design of the face. And here is the way I do treatment in this patient. The same, locate the target fatty tissue, target fat area and then try to identify the entry point and the exit point. For this case, because the curtain is too thick compared to the bony rod that is quite small for this case, so I do the lateral reshaping to more define both the upper and lower bony rod. And this is the vector that I try to compress all the soft tissue backward to the position. For the left side that is not severe sagginess, I try to focus at the jawline definition. So I adopt the jawline reshaping technique with the advance go in and out, and in, go out and in again to make more compression like inward, J-stick, above and lower.
เป็นสามเหลี่ยมเลย
After do planning, drawing or marking, we do the circle preparation under the sterile field and then local anesthesia, all the necessary area.
ก็จะไปทำให้มันสแตนไลน์เนี่ยว่าก็เอาช็อคเขียนแล้วลบเสร็จก็คุณจะลบ
Okay. When we do the bone needles, we just go in, move gently and make this velocity, and go at the peripheral area to make more anchoring force.
มันสูงแต่ว่าวะ
When we pierce out and we go in again, that is increase the holding strength for the thread.
ถ้ากดไปนี่จะกินหมูแล้วก็เซลล์ให้ฉัน
แต่ว่าฉีดฟิลเลอร์เลยไม่กล้าฉีดเพิ่มขนาดนั้นเลย
When we do finish the first arm,
แล้ว
we
นี่
just
คือมันเป็น
remove
เส้นไหมเลยนะ
the
เส้นไหม
needle.
คือจับไปอย่างเงี้ยก็รู้สึกคนแค่แม่งจับไปแบบอุ้ยมันยังหน้าหูกู
For the second arm, I go along the jaw lines and go to catch up the jaw fat pad. For making holding string, I go backward to do the inward J stitch to compress the jaw fat backward. It's quite simple for the advanced GI technique in this side.
ทำข้อยังง่ายกว่าเย็บเนี่ยมันดูง่ายกว่านี้
And this is another side that I do the different lateral shaping technique. We go at the angle of mandibles and then go along the preauricular area and piercing out at the tarsus area and then do intermediate point. The first arm I try to go to lift the heaviness of the nasal fat compartment. And because the fat is quite thick in these cases, so I do re-entry at the nasal fat compartment and go backward at the area of the lateral vertical line to compress the soft tissue back at the pre-mesothelic space. As you can see, the process is quite simple, and you can adopt it to treat your patients in your clinic. The second one, you go along the border of the mandibular bodies and then go out to pierce and catch up the jaw fat. And then I reinsert again to make more compressive force and go out on the same exit point. It looks like the sigma letters.
ทุกคนบอกว่าของตัวเองซิมเปิลหมดเลยซิมเปิลตรงไหนก่อนทำคอร์สง่ายกว่า
Yeah, and then we remove the excess arm. And here is the result immediately after. As you can see, the face is more balanced, naturally, and no downtime. And fortunately, we can follow up the patients again in 2 months. And you can see how nice of the result of just one pieces of the 23 centimeter length of the definite thread just per one pieces per side.
ถ้าร้อยแค่
Here
เส้น
is
เดียว
another
ขนาด
aspect of the
ก็
face.
แบบ
And you can
10
see
นาที
the face is more rejuvenated. And you can use the thread without inject any filler that can avoid the open symptom of injecting filler in some specific area. And here is the result after that.
แต่ใหม่คือยาวมากเลยนะ
I show you the comparative
คิด
between
ว่าใหม่
before and after. First time on one with the free folding different technique, and 3 months after the first the initially with the just one piece of 23 centimeter definite thread. As you can see how nice rejuvenated
คำว่า
young
high definition
result that we can
ไว
achieve
เครีย
just
ง
only
ได้
thread
ไหม
combine the thread
ไม่หนา
as a
เดียว
different station
คือ
sequentially
มันต้องแบบ
approach.
เส้นใหญ่พอสมควร
However, in our daily practice, we can adopt the thread to do combination with the other modality that we always get used to, like botulinum treatment and HA filler injection. So I call this combination, plastic combination, as a different modality. I show you with one cases that I do. This is quite simple and basic that I always do in my practice mostly. These cases present to me with sadness and in front of the horror and the face emotion attribution look sadness. And I just, after evaluation, I just talk with the patients and design to do a definite 12 centimeter double needle jawline reshaping technique to treat the low face and use just 2 ml of definite filler to inject at the mid-face area after evaluation. The bone is still nice, and then inject the bone toxin in the upper face. And here is the result after injection, after all treatment. You can see how nice that we can change the facial motion attribution, not only in the front pain, but in different pain of the face. The patient look younger, well rejuvenated, and no downtime. Here is another interesting one that I do more in the elderly patients, that this cases has no experiences about any kind of aesthetic treatment, and she just present to me, just want to make her face look rejuvenated, no downtime, no pain, minimal pain maybe, and I decided to do definite 23 centimeter length for redefine the bone decline of the upper and lower log, and use just 2 ml of definite thread, definite fillers at the mid-face and the toxin at the upper face. And here is the vector that I will modify reverse lateral shaping with 20 centimeter definite double needles. I go from the angle of mandibles and then go up to the target area and try to move backward into position of the nasal fat. And the second arm I go to catch up the jaw fat, and then go across the mandible body to the contralateral middle band of platysma. And this is the marking that I do on these patients. I would like to share with you how I do this procedure with the thread. This is the normal procedure that I do in my practice. It's not slow motion. This is normal speed that I do in the practice with the thread. I go with very meticulously, gentle, just move with my finger, go in and go up gently. So that's why you will traumatize patients. Very little to traumatize the tissue, and patients feel no pain at all. Because this is the asking from patients that they don't want no downtime and no pain. The video we spend about three and a half minutes for one side. I just show you just one side. When I go up at the target, I go in again and go exit at the area of the stiffness of the retaining ligament to make more holding strength. The first time I try to support the upper
เสียง
log
โค
of
ตร
the
โบราณ
face.
เสียงเหมือนโทรศัพท์ที่มันหมุนๆนะตอนนี้ทันแล้ว
I think this is very okay. This is the way I do to approach the mandibular body. We just go in and go out again and okay. Let's see the result. Here is the immediate result after we inject 2 ml of definite filler in the mid-face and 1 pieces of definite thread per
ทำเสียงหน้า
side.
ใหญ่กว่าเดิม
And here is another aspect of the face immediately. It's quite pleasing the patients. And I let patients back and take a photo after 1 month. As you can see how nice to do non-invasive aesthetic medicine treatment for the patients that have no experiences in her 61 years old. This is first time for treating the whole thing together in one
before เป็น
session.
อีเจลแต่ว่าแบบทำเสร็
So
จ
here is the result. So I would like to give you the take-home message how to get a good outcome, not only the test, but all kind of the treatment modality. First, you have to assess the patient in three-dimensionally. And second, you have to concern patients when you evaluate in both static and dynamic beauty. And just only visualize is not enough. Sometimes you have to feel to palpate the facial bone that they need to support or not. And combined modality is the future of the aesthetic medicine, and also prevention should be concerned rather than just correct it. Eventually, in all the thread lifting talk, I will emphasize the patient selection and patient assessment is the key success in thread lifting. This is my clinic and also the masterclass training network for the definite thread. It's located in the center of Chiang Mai. If you have time to visit Chiang Mai, just stop by. We can sit the coffee together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tanai. I might want to get 15 minutes out of the time for lunch for question. We have the online one question for Dr. Amy. That in case you are doing the combined treatment, thread and fillers, and in case you inject with the filler first and then use the thread, do we will change or move the fillers to the other direction or not? This question I want also Dr. Danai, if you are here, also for this combination of the thread and fillers, please.
อาจารย์จะกลับเชียงใหม่แล้ว
แต่รีบเดินหนีเลย
โอ้ถามเพียงอมตะยังไม่ได้ยกมือถามขนาดนี้ค่ะ
I don't think you'll be moving the filler because of the plane of injection. When you're putting the filler, you're putting the filler quite deep down, almost at the bone level or the deep fat level. And when you're using your thread, you're actually in the superficial fat or layer 2 as we are discussing. So I don't think you'll be able to move the filler.
Okay. So it's on different location. Do we have any question for Dr. Chan? We can go to the microphone. So for our two speakers, we are also a little on the basic to immediate for the thread insertion. You can see Dr. Danai for the superficial with the needle gliding slowly along the plane. So that might be quite safe. Also for the Dr. David that going on the superficial above smart layer. But somehow for Dr. Chan, you can see that Dr. Chan go much deeper down to the arch or even below the arch into the fat pad plane, pulling the cheek from that plane with the barb needle. So we suppose that the barb or the torch can
จำชื่อ
move
สปีก
or
เกอร์ไม่ได้
fix
แต่อยากถามเหมือนกันว่า
buckle fat back quite
เพร
well.
สเชอร์ยังไงล่ะ
But as you can see that the sun
เทรดดิ้ง
removed
อยาก
some
ถามเขา
of
เหมือน
the
กันว่า
thread
เขาเพรส
that
เชอร์ยังไง
the
เวลา
barb
ทำ
or the torch
ยืนเทรดดิ้ง
disappear just
ถ้า
a
เกิด
month and a half.
อยากทำ
Not as long
ไม่ใช่
as
คือ
we
เข้าไปในปากเนี่ย
expected
แล้ว
that
กด
might
ปาก
be 6
จากในปาก
months.
เนี่ยหรอ
So in this case nowadays for the thread lifting, we are more dynamic, repeated treatment, not just a single treatment, and you can see the lasting effect for 6 months, even a year or 2 years. So we can put in the thread as often as we need.
ที่มาแบบเดิม
ทำไมให้บอกขนาดนี้
I do have one question for the one that you said about 1.5 centimeter, 2.5 for the eye lateral canter, that there is some branch of the facial artery that is quite dangerous. Is this from the anatomy or because we use this area for entering the thread quite often.
From here, we should be careful about first one is the supervision temporal artery. I said the supervision temperature was with temporal artery have two patterns. One pattern is from this oblique line, and the other way transverse the temporal fossa. Transverse temporal fossa we don't worry about because when we do the subarch from the TV point we go under the mass, so don't worry about the transverse pattern. However, the other pattern from the behind the hairline, in fact, when we make the hole of the TV point, I just use the needle, just opening the dermis. Then I use the teeth, the forceps, ground the dissection, then under the mass, and then trace through the needle. So I can prevent injury to the artery.
Thank
Alright.
you. So I would like to finish our morning
ได้ยินกับ
session
Prevent attorney
and we go for lunch. We will be back at 1:30 and 12:45 and 1:30 for the afternoon session for all kinds of Thai restaurant friends in Thank you very much. ขอบคุณครับ เดี๋ยวทานข้าวนะฮะ แล้วก็ 45 นาทีเรากลับมานะครับ ขอบคุณมากครับ
ไม่รู้เหมือนกันชั้นไหน
นั่งไปออกกันอยู่ข้างนอกแล้วก็แบบประชาชนกับนักร้านแย่งกันกินข้าวสภาพ
เดี๋ยวค่อยไป
ฉี่แต่ว่าคนเต็มห้องน้ำอุ้ยคนนี้คือแบบแต่งตัวชิลมากคือแบบคนนี้คือแบบเก่งสุดในงานใส่เสื้อยืดกางเกงขาสั้นใส่ที่ด้วยได้ป่ะคนนั้นจะไม่ใช่คนไทยคนนั้นจะเป็นคนไต้หวันแน่ใช่นะคนไต้หวันหรอ Hello welcome Thai girls ใช่เขาแบบว่าจีนแบบแผ่นดินใหญ่เลยแล้วต้องแบบว่านี่หาว我是泰国人เขาแต่งตัวกันชิลมากแต่ที่